introduce your new person, if you don't mind. Tell us who her background is and what she's up to and all that stuff, if you don't mind, Ron.
Sure. Well, there is a family here in Takayama, um, if I'm getting the town name right.
Yep.
And it is the first step off the rice paddies. The first step is to sort it and package it and type it for pricing, and then the next wave of distributors takes over. So this family is involved in that first step, and therefore is sort of a low-ranking merchant um, situation. Um, and therefore their use name is Miyata, which is rice paddy shrine. There is certainly shrines here and there, everywhere. Kami, as we know, are all over. Um, and as often happens, there is a practitioner of Shinto, a young woman, 21, which isn't that young, actually. She's pretty marriageable, I think, at this point. And is not a shrine priestess, not a shrine person. She's a lay member of Shinto, which is the case for the majority of Shinto Gakusho. Which means she's going to have an ordinary life, will probably be married, and doesn't have to live at the shrine or do special things every day, but is perfectly capable of a lot of religious ceremonies. So that's what she does. So she is a Shinto practitioner who is very much into the daily life of the family and the food trade. But therefore is raised as a merchant, and her name is, so the family name is Miyata. The people call her Gin, which is silver. So it's just sort of the personal name she's picked up over time. I don't know. Maybe there was a silver piece involved in some infancy story. I don't know. Something. Doesn't even matter. It's a common use name or a common personal name for girls anyway. So in more game terms, the first level Gakusho has an impressive array of things they might do, but the numbers for them are brutal. And so let's just say she's got an even chance most of the time of doing something impressive with talking to Kami and settling down Oni. And Eric, I bit the bullet and said, it makes you can't do half the stuff I can do unless I have meditation. Or meditation feeds into so many things that I originally was saying.
Bonus, yes.
I was saying, I'm just going to try and go a little offbeat and not totally optimize everything. And the more rules I read, the more it kept saying, and then average with meditation, and then average with meditation. All right. She meditates. I get that. So no more singing, meditation instead. And otherwise, it's cooking, herbalism, commerce, and apparently a very good gift of gab. Pretty good at speaking up for things. I'm going to have to figure out how you do that when you're a 21-year-old feudal Japanese woman. But if the source material is any indication, nobody kind of notices when they say things, but everybody does things because of it. Something like that. But we'll worry about that later.
Yeah, and if you have a powerful patron or someone behind your shoulder, it does help you.
I am not entirely bewildered by, but I don't think I can manage all the interplay between status and the personal, the things like rhetoric.
Yep.
Eric, it's going to be on you. There's a lot of interplay of those things. And I'm throw myself at your mercy to bring
Well,
in all the different trajectories of that stuff.
as we set up those scenes, I'll just remind you of things you can do and relate it to people. Like the opportunities will come through people.
Right.
So hopefully we'll arrange that.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So people showed up in the town, and Geen is a native, so we know that. So, but I think I'm going to put all three characters in a similar situation, in that the people that you've been were going to take care of you for your relatives and give you a mattress to sleep on. They're going to sit down and offer you something and give you suggestions, but how you respond to their suggestions is totally up to you. Okay? Here we go. But the one exception to this is Geen, who I'd like to start off with Geen, if you don't mind. Is that good?
Sure.
Sure.
Oh yeah, and just to maintain things, just in case there's a weird order problem, could everyone give me a D6 roll? I just want to set a kind of informal order to things.
Ooh.
You got a 5. Yeah, I guess that's 5.
I rolled a
6
6.
fingers.
And I rolled a 6.
Okay, if Arak and Ron, you could roll off. Want to see who goes last.
I rolled a 6 again.
I rolled a 3.
Okay, so the order will be Eric, David, Ron there, and no, Ron comes before. Okay, well, there we go. But I do want to start off with Ron, just to give a sense of some of the stakes that are going on. All right. So, your father, Geen, has been invited to a sit-down in the mansion of Makoto, the #1 merchant in the city.
Yes.
And what would you need to what would you need to know? Okay, so he's inviting you and your father to a discreet little meeting in his place of business. And I guess what's are some things you need to know about the situation or Makoto before we just snap to it and everyone's sitting cross-legged over tea?
First of all, what kind of a manipulative or even unfair thumb does he put on us
Okay.
and people like us as a general
Right.
business practice? In other words, do we grumble about this guy?
Okay. I'm sorry, I have a visitor.
Okay.
Yeah, what's up? Okay, Tab. If there's fire, let me know. What happened, Tabitha? Oh,
Do you have to go, Eric?
no,
Okay.
it was just another cryptic. Okay, so here we go. So on the way over, you and your dad are discussing this situation. It's that Makoto does most of his import-export in and out of the province. So he doesn't really have a big thumb on locals. He's really concerned with some pretty high-end, expensive goods. I think, like, you know how they have the dried salmon roe and dried salmon to make bonito flakes?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty pricey. And the emperor and the shogun have monopolies on certain things from, the Middle Kingdom across the Sea of Japan. But up north, where you guys are, there's some ports. So tea is brought in, and all sorts of things from China. So he's really sort of flying on a slightly different plane.
I'm a little
And
surprised.
local
Why on
merchants-
earth would we go? What on earth would? That's the big question. Then is what on
Yeah.
earth are we doing here? I mean, there's layers.
Okay, So I'll answer that question. So on the way over, your dad is saying, "This is unusual. I don't know what's up, and we normally don't interface with him. So it's a little unusual. I just have to deal with a small kitchen matter. I'll be back."
You go right ahead. I can sense it.
What's up, Jeff?
No, I totally.
Yeah, I hope this house doesn't burn down.
We really don't want the either the tuna fish or the toast to go wrong.
Yeah.
No, I know this quite well. Well. Well, anyway, I hope that we don't end up. I mean, I'm gonna have to boot Eric off my character, ASAP, so you guys get to play. But I will warn you, she is crap in a fight. Mataji has had 28 hit points.
Okay, yeah.
Gin has 9.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I have about 20. Is double that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
she stays behind.
yeah. I do a lot of meditating. I think I'm going to do a lot of meditating.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No. Okay. But here's the one thing, though. Normally, this would be between the two gentlemen. Like if this is a business meeting, you haven't been invited along before,
Right.
and so this is a new thing. Why would he want my daughter involved in this? So, with no further ado, and you can ask questions about the background. You can't just.
I'll worry
Where
about
did
that
I
in a bit.
put that?
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you look in the Bushido actual play section, there's a map of the compound. So basically, as you are walking towards it, you can make out certain things. There's the large gate. There's some pens and storage areas. There's a stable. And as you walk in past the well, you can see there's a grand main
Right.
entrance for privileged guests, and then a lesser entry for ordinary people. And you can see above the dwelling, he's got a 2-story house back there behind the business area, the second level. And you're aware of his very tall, very locked, very impressive storehouse. And as well, that he keeps a very refined tea house and, of course, his own private. And I should have said this before. It's not a shrine. It is a Buddhist.
It says temple on the map. I was wondering about that, right?
Yeah.
So there's a Buddhist temple there.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
oh,
Apparently, it's very. Those who know about it or have seen it say it's very, very sparse or Spartan. In we would call like a Zen Buddhist thing. Like it's got very, very, very little decorations. Pretty stoic. So it's not really very fancy. But you're sitting down, and Makoto is there.
we go through the lesser entrance, I presume.
You go through the lesser
Yep,
entrance,
perfectly okay.
remove the sandals. At the lesser reception area, you're given a nice reception. The people are polite to you. His servants are very polite. You do notice his bodyguards, commoners for the most part, but they look like fellows who should not be messed with.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, in lesser reception, you're escorted to the business room. Wait pleasantly. None of the other family members are there. And then Makoto shows up and starts the discussion. So he says, "Welcome to your father." And he says, "And welcome to you. This is the first time you've been in my humble abode. How do you like it?" Oh, in any case,
I respond without raising my eyes. I respond. This person thanks you for your welcome. The how do you like my place is very rhetorical as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, it is. I know that you're greatly valued in this city as a member of our spiritual community. That's one reason why you're here. But I also know your family is very important in the rice trade around here. But I wanted to talk to you about a business opportunity that might come your way, and I wanted to give you some warnings about it. Now, can I trust? I know. Can I trust everybody here to be discreet and not mention this little meeting? Your father nods, and strangely enough, Makoto is waiting for some sign from you that you understand. Like the father's assent is not enough.
I see. In that case, I will respond with a bow. I still haven't raised my eyes, so I'm in
Yeah.
the kneeling. I'm in probably in seiza or a similar position, some kind
Yeah.
of formal
Yeah.
seated position, and I'll just do the bow from the waist, which is an agreement. My little bat ears, though. I mean, they're like.
He says, I have been expecting an extremely important shipment to come in by the Pilgrim Road, and it is very, very, very late. And I am worried that someone has robbed it. Now, I know you don't normally deal with high-end goods or antiques or things of that sort, but I did want to warn you about something. Should someone offer you a box of very, very fine Chinese make with sort of a complicated lock on the top and Chinese characters, I would greatly appreciate it if you did not buy it and if you told me right away who offered it to you. So he's basically saying is someone has boosted something very valuable from me, and they might be seeking to fence it in town, and he doesn't want you fencing it.
Right. All right. So if it continues such that my father probably is assuring him of full cooperation, etc. I'd like to see if I need to. I'm not going to be very good at the letter of the law for these rules without looking them up. So
Sure, man.
I should probably put bookmarks in a couple of these. Now, in this case, framing official petitions, legal cases, religious preaching, and debate, the ability to dispute well. And so, fortunately, right, okay. Fortunately, it doesn't force me to average my rhetoric skill with everything when I use it, which is typical for most of these things, but is not the case here. So I can actually rely on my rhetoric. I would like to state in fact, I'm going to raise my eyes, but I'm gazing neutrally toward like the back wall. And as my father is assuring all sorts of things, I would like to frame this in the commercial way. So I guess the associated thing will be commerce. For frame this in the commercial way, so that basically this is a nice, advantageous deal for us. I would like this to be a nice relationship going forward. Not just merely summon us, make us promise something, and then we get a treat and walk out, right? I mean, thanks for the coffee sort of thing. No, I'd like us to do well out of this. And so the way I'm speaking is kind of like Father, as you know. is my yeah.
Indirect.
Mhm.
Asking polite questions whose answer is very obvious.
It's almost
but yes.
it's almost as though there's like a Greek chorus in the room, almost as though I'm not talking. I'm just sort of idly, it's just idly going into the air.